मैं अब निवेदन करूंगा डॉक्टर देवाशीष चक्रवर्ती जी से, वो आएँ और डॉक्टर अंजू गुप्ता विल रीड आउट हिज ब्रीफ सीवी। सो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है और अप्रिशिएट भी कर रहा हूँ कि सारे बच्चे बहुत शांति से ये सारी चीज़ें सुन रहे हैं, क्योंकि तुम्हारे डायरेक्ट हित की हैं ये। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Dr. Debashish Chaudhary, he is a senior scientist at Chakravarti. He is a senior scientist at IARI New Delhi. Sir did his MSc and PhD from IARI. He was a postdoc fellow at Rothamsted Research in UK. Sir is also an associate of National Academy to Agricultural Sciences. Sir is also a gold medalist from IARI. He has published about 40 research papers in different journals of international repute. Sir has guided 4 MSc students and 1 PhD, and currently 3 students are pursuing PhD under him. His area of specialization is soil physics, soil water management, remote sensing, and geographic information in natural resources management. I will invite Dr. Debashish Chakravarti to present his lecture. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Indeed, it's a pleasure to meet you, because maybe I was a student like you. I was brought up in a small hometown near Kolkata. I am from Bengal. Then I came to Delhi for my higher study. I have done my master's and PhD here. The lecture which you have just listened, he was one of my teachers. He is one of my teachers. Now I am working. I am colleague. I am working as a senior scientist there at IARI. Possibly I cannot be that much of lively as Dr. Tomar, because he speaks very well, I know. He has been also in this particular area for quite a big time. So, but as I was told that you are from schools, so there is not much technical or not much scientific information per se in my presentation. I am just trying to sensitize you. We have been working in this particular area for quite a long time, and our IRA has got... Lights closed. No problem. It's fine. It's visible, no problem. Okay. So our IRA basically, it's known for one of the centers where the climate change program has started. Not only started, it has shown the world that you should not blame India for everything which is there globally. You cannot blame for nothing that, okay, India is producing that much of greenhouse gases, India is producing that much of pollution in the air. It is not like that. And because of our contribution at IRI is one of the recipients of the Nobel Peace Prize, which IPCC has got. IRI is very much part to that. And that is because of there were a continuous experiments on agriculture specifically, especially on rice and the methane gas emission. I will touch upon a few of those things and leaving much room for you to interact with me, so that at least I can share some of my own experience in working in this particular area, and my own area of specialization, which is basically soil physics, soil water management. Now, when we talk about the soil and climate change, 3 greenhouse gases basically comes to our mind is the carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide. You know about all of them. But they are called greenhouse because they are the largest contribution for this global warming. And so they result in a climate change. Now, as we bring the soil factor into that, the soil is both as a source and the sink of all of these gases. So, so briefly, that soil is also a factor for these gases emission in the atmosphere, and also that soil can play a big role of getting those gases back, either by eliminating or emitting in a lesser amount, or by taking those, which is called as sequestration. So coming to this impact of soil, and then soil and climate, because these two are very intimately related. It is not that one is affecting one and the other has not got any role. So as they are interrelated, so the soil, as you know, it is a living system. You all have studied soil. Soil is not a dead system. It is not a material only. It is a living system. And that's why soil is different from dust. So the soil is thriving with population of bacteria, population of many faunas, many flora. So there are three. One is fertility, that is basically linked to our agriculture, the production which Dr. Tomar was pointing out, coming from 50 million tons to going to almost more than 5 times. Then the biodiversity, which is very much important nowadays. We always talk about the biodiversity conservation, biodiversity, we are declining biodiversity. The soil is a very, very rich source of biodiversity, and possibly there is no other entity in the world which is having as much biodiversity as the soil can. And those who are working in the microbiology, they can say that in the soil, they may just scratch a few part of the soil only to get those microbes for utilization of the benefits. As he has already pointed out, the Bt cotton. It is from soil only. But that's only a very small part. We have not explored the soil at all. And the third one is soil health. You know about our government, there is a very ambitious plan, soil health card. Because the soil health, it is directly related to farmers. The more healthy the soil is, you will get the more production and the more sustainability. That means the kind of production you will get, because our population is burgeoning and it is going to a very, you can say, very uncontrollable. These are the greenhouse gases and their contributions. The carbon dioxide, it is maximum. As you know, that is 76%, nitrous oxide 7%, methane 16%, and other gases are only 1%. But this is only the contribution of this warming. But these gases have their differential role in warming. Carbon dioxide has got the least role, nitrous oxide has got the maximum role, methane is in between. So even though their percentage contributions to the global warming is 76% for the carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide is 7%, but only a small amount of nitrous oxide increase in the atmosphere can play a havoc in terms of climate change and global warming. That has been changing in the global warming or increasing this one. You know about the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change. And this IPCC has produced their annual report subsequently. It is in 2014 report. And you see that in this report particularly, the carbon dioxide level, and this is up to, the x-axis is absent here, I beg pardon for that, but this is up to 2000, because that is the exact actual figure. So in this particular, the last one is 2000, starting from 1950. So you know that it has increased from 280 to 400 ppm. In the methane and nitrous oxide, the increase also is very drastically, 800 to 1800 ppb, I mean parts per billion. For nitrous oxide, it is 270 to 320 parts per billion. Now recently, there was a report published in 2020 by International Energy Agency, that is in France, that is located in France. So IPCC, what they have given, this is the exact, it was earlier and now what it is. But there is also a kind of scenarios which IPCC generates. Scenarios means, suppose if you go for the business as usual, that means whatever is there, we are just allowing them all the activities, including industry, including agriculture practices, including everything, including cars and all things. You know, nowadays Delhi, it is really in a very dangerous situation. Okay, so it is nowhere near to Beijing, which was earlier the most polluted country, most polluted city in the world. So now we need to do something which is very drastic. We need to have some kind of action immediately. In this case, the IPCC generates that, okay, if this goes on like that only, what will happen? And if we make some kind of technological interventions, making more user-friendly kind of things, more or less greenhouse gas emission technology, so what will happen? So based on that, there are several scenarios. Now the IEA report, which is coming in 2010, up to 2010, they have given the actual carbon dioxide globally, and is touching the worst scenarios predicted by IPCC. The IPCC worst scenario is A1, A2. So they are touching that. Because there was a global dooming, as you all know, in 2008. So economic activities were relatively brought down. So because of that, the carbon dioxide emission or greenhouse gas emission was come down, and then it goes again high in 2010. So really we are in a very alarming situation, apart from those localized situations like say Delhi, the air pollution which is too much. If we go to the agriculture, the greenhouse gases from various subsectors, because all the agriculture, because as you know that agriculture is a multifarious activities, there are so many things which are involved there, and agriculture is of crop production, but it has got several allied subjects which is linked to your farming system. So in that case, agriculture is contributing to 18% overall, industry is 16%, energy is really, it is the big share, it is 61%, and waste material which is producing also 1%. Now, specifically coming to agriculture, the most problematic is not the crop production. The problem is with the buffaloes, cows. They are the enteric fermentation. That means these are rumen. So they have rumen, so stomach, they are what is called that. They can generate this much of methane in the atmosphere, which is contributing to 56%. So you should not blame agriculture at all. Agriculture is not the only culprit. But in this agriculture, specifically from the rice fields, we have 18%. From agricultural soil, that is non-rice fields, those are upland crops like say wheat and any other crops. Even in the Kharif season also maize and any crops which is upland, not in rice, lowland field, low areas. So low areas it is 18% rice fields which are puddle, agriculture other soils which is 23%. Manure management, it is 1% contributing only, but crop residue burning, 2%. So these are all issues which we must think of. Crop residue burning nowadays is a problem. You know that because in Delhi, before the winter sets in, there was a completely, it is overcast with all sorts of, we call it smog, because smoke and fog, they are combining. That smoke, where from it came? Delhi has not got no agriculture at all. It is a peri-urban area, some agriculture is going on, but it is mostly coming in Punjab and Haryana. And if you see the satellite images, all are reds. That means all are burning. So because of that, so much of this particulate matter, they have come to Delhi and they have polluted the Delhi. So this crop residue burning, because they have certainly some points, because farmers are not burning just willfully. They have some what is called majburi. They are compelled to burn that one because they have got not that much of machinery nowadays in order to bring the rice, and then only they have to produce the wheat. So they are left, the most option which they can always take up is the burning of the crop residues, which is already there. During this period they are all dried up, so they just lit a matches stick and then it burns completely. So it is really a problem, the crop burning issue, and its contributing is 2%. Yeah, enteric fermentation is basically, it is the fermentation when the buffaloes and cows, they take the whatever food is there and they just churn it. And when they are churning, they are emitting the methane, and that's contributing maximum because we have very high bovine population in India. So their contribution is 56%. So that methane gas, it is because you have to feed the cows, it is very difficult to control. The only thing is that you have to add to the food some material which may reduce the methane emission. I am not very much aware of that. Maybe Dr. Tomar can tell much about that. But that's the biggest contribution in the greenhouse gas emission in India from agriculture. Sorry. So it is estimated that from agriculture, the emission is nearly 420 million tons carbon dioxide equivalent. Carbon dioxide equivalent is just in order to convert it into a carbon dioxide for all those gases, it is some kind of calculation. Now these greenhouse gas emissions from the agriculture, when you come to the crop sector, I told you that rice and then your non-agriculture crops. The rice, it is methane, basically CH4, which is for the, if there is anaerobic condition, so the methane gas is emission. If the aerobic condition, then the carbon dioxide emits. Nitrous oxide emission is from the upland crops, and this is from 1960 and 2010. This way they have increased. These are material which may not be available that much in your other. Apart from these are all our from IRI product. We have done this kind of exercise. From secondary data, we have calculated some our own field experiments. We have generated the coefficients to come into this kind of figure. So you see that from 70 to 2013, the GHG emission has almost doubled. And currently N2O from soil and fertilizer is the largest contribution. So now it's not the methane. Earlier what I told is that IPCC, our IRI, is one of the party to that peace prize. So that IRI has done maximum work on the methane, and it's so to the world that no, but you thought that the methane emission from India is this much. It was not like that. The figure has come down drastically. But now our own experiment says, and also collecting data from Developed Farmer Survey, that nitrous oxide emission from other. If you blame rice, even if you stop rice, no problem. The nitrous oxide from other fields are also coming in a big way. And now also, as Dr. Tomar pointed out, that we have some recent advances in cultivation technology. Like say, you know about rice, the rice field, it is basically puddled. You know there is all standing water, and you puddle the soil, it is a transplanted, and so you get the paddy. But nowadays there are other techniques, like say DSR, direct seeded rice. You need not to transplant that one, you have to directly sow the seeds. And there definitely you will have to have a little bit of less water. So the water is conserved. Similar in the case with the SRI, that is a system of rice intensification. These kind of techniques are only to reduce the water. It is a water management. But basically these also produce the nitrous oxide. Because once the system becomes aerobic, then there will be other problems which is coming in, not the methane. So we have to deal in a holistic way, because nowadays it sees the nitrous oxide emission is now the largest contributor of the greenhouse gases. Now what are the impacts? This is a very, just briefly I will point it out. Impacts of climate change on soil. First of all, it is a temperature increase. It will be having weather hazards, having the sea level rise, it will having the droughts, and the functional, it is the most important part, is the biotic abiotic stresses. All those are affecting the soil. And in this way, this is a cycle. So in the mid, it is soil health. So if you have increased greenhouse gas in the atmosphere, so definitely you know that this is a global warming. Always we call it as global warming. So increase in temperature. If there is an increase in temperature, there are two things which can happen. One is that the crop will start evaporating much. As you know, dry, so the more temperature increase means crops will transpire also, because that one has to do. Otherwise, crop will not survive. So there will be a high evaporation, greater evaporation. So there will be soil water deficit, because the evaporation, the crops takes water from the soil. So definitely there will be water deficit in the soil. And then as the water deficit in specific areas, there will be salinization. That is the typical salinity will develop, because salts will remain on the surface. They will not be drained out. So that will affect the crop production. But there is another point from the increased temperature. That increased temperature will create more kind of mineralization. As you know, that in the soil, the plants are mostly taking the food in ionic form, and those are the products of mineralization. In nitrogen, it takes the nitrate from nitrous or NH4 or this one ammonium or nitrate from, mostly the nitrate from, and likewise all those things are exchanged, and the roots are taking that one, and the crops are now, it is going to different parts of the plant. So that mineralization rate will increase. So it may be positive and negative, we are not sure. This may also boost up the crop production, or this may also lead to some kind of leaching problem. That means you are applying some fertilizer, you know that this fertilizer is useful for the plants. Because of the high rate of mineralization, they are not meeting the demand of the crop, and some of them are leached out. That is a mode. So this kind of problem also may come. So we are not sure, because these are all kind of mostly the speculation. Some are supported by the field data, but most of them are our assumption, some hypotheses which we try to prove it. Now, the problems are in soil, as I told, that this is a living system. So you have biological, you have physical, you have chemical. So all those parameters or all those processes in the soil, which is very important for the roots to survive, very important for the microbes to survive, and very important for the plants to survive, all those things are likely to be affected if you have a change in climate. This is interesting. This is from one of our very senior colleague at National Bureau of Soil Survey and Land Use Planning. So if they have done some modeling, and if there is a change in the climate, so definitely the soil will be mostly towards arid condition. As you know that the desert area earlier means we know that the Rajasthan adjoining parts, they are the desert area. But now the desert area also has come towards Delhi or this region, Punjab, Haryana. Now we call it desert means that is a desert-like situation. I am not saying that sands are always available, it's not like that. But the old, you can say the classification of the arid zone, semi-arid zone, humid zone, those things are not there. So now it is also, so in that particular experiment, modeling, what he has done is that he has, from if there is a climate change and there is a temperature increase, our soils will become from subhumid towards the semi-arid and the arid condition. And because of the arid condition, the typical problem of the salt accumulation in the soil will increase, and that is detrimental for the roots and the plant roots.
His a graduation from IIT Kanpur, and then he moved to Stanford. Then he came back to India. He did for some time chip designing, and finally he has taken up this kind of the job to entertain the young generation through mathematics and the physics part using these toys. So I invite Mr. Jain that you can start your activities. And बच्चों से निवेदन है कि एक बार जैन साहब का स्वागत करें जोरदार तालियों।
मेरा नाम मनीष जैन है, जैसा कि मैंने बताया था, और मैं पुणे में काम करता हूँ। नौकरी नहीं करते हैं, सबसे बड़ी बात नौकरी से मुक्त हैं, और मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम अंग्रेजी थोड़ी समझ आती है आपको ना, बीच में आप थोड़ा अंग्रेजी में चले जाते हैं। तो लाइक आई सेड कि मैं वैसे दूसरा उत्तर प्रदेश का रहने वाला हूँ। आपसे 50 किलोमीटर दूर एक जगह है, छोटी सी, पहले तो तहसील थी, अब जिला बन गया हापुड़। हापुड़ में आप सभी लोगों का गेहूं सबसे बड़ा गोदाम उत्तर भारत का हापुड़ में है। इसलिए का सारा गेहूं महाराष्ट्र में रहता है। आप देखेंगे बहुत बड़े बड़े, आपको सब ज्यादा मालूम रहेगा। हम लोग जाते हैं वहाँ पे रहने के लिए। मेरी पढ़ाई यहाँ पर दिल्ली में थोड़ी हुई, उसके बाद मैंने कानपुर से थोड़ी पढ़ाई करी, फिर स्टैनफोर्ड में थोड़ी पढ़ाई करी। मुझे लगता है आजकल की बच्चों की पढ़ाई काफी सीरियस हो गई है, तो उसलिए मुझे लगा अभी एक ऑल इंडिया रेडियो की प्रवक्ता आई है, उन्होंने मुझसे एक सवाल पूछा कि अच्छा इसमें मेरे हाथ में देखिए कैलेंडर है साधारण, यहाँ पर इतवार है और बाकी सोमवार। अगर आपको इस कैलेंडर में सबसे अच्छा दिन कौन सा लगता है? ये मैं आपको जो भी बात करूँ, मैं यहाँ पर छोटी कहानियाँ सुनाऊंगा, क्योंकि मैं खुद ये काम करने के लिए एक अर्जुन गुप्ता करते हैं, वो भी आईटी कानपुर के बड़े हैं, मेरे से 20 साल सीनियर थे, उससे मैं थोड़ा प्रेरित हुआ। तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि कुछ लोगों से देखना पाकर हम लोगों की जीवन की गति बदल जाती है। एक 4 साल के चौथी तीसरी क्लास के बच्चे की कहानी सुनाता हूँ। उसके टीचर ने एक बोर्ड पे 1 से लेकर 100 तक अंक लिख दिए, और ये असली कहानी है। 1 से लेकर 100 तक अंक लिखे और बोला सब बच्चों को कि गिन के बताओ इन सब अंकों का जोड़ क्या होगा। सभी बच्चे लग गए, 1 जमा 2 2, 2 1 3, 3 6, 6 4 10। शुरू में तो गाड़ी तेजी से चलती है, आगे जाके 10 15 15 15 से 21, धीरे धीरे गाड़ी स्लो हो गई। एक लड़का था, वो बिल्कुल जोड़ नहीं कर रहा था, और ये असली कहानी है। तीसरी क्लास का लड़का था, उसने सिर्फ अंकों को ऐसे देख रहा था, और टीचर बेचारा परेशान कि बच्चे सब कुछ जोड़ते क्यों नहीं हो। तो उसने कहा सर मैं इसमें पैटर्न देखता हूँ, और अगले 10 सेकंड में उसने बोला 5050। अब टीचर आया, ये क्या करा? उसने कहा देखिए सर मुझे दिख रहा था 100 और 1 99 और 2 गॉस की, उस लड़के का नाम था गॉस, उसके पीछे मेरा and then this man became the most famous. आपने गाँव का नाम सुना है? आप जाके आजकल तो सबके पास इंटरनेट है, जाके देखिएगा Frederick Gauss, one of the most prominent mathematicians and scientists that ever had. And so the idea behind a lot of these things is that you can do very interesting math, very interesting science, not by doing a software. There is science all around, there is math all around. We just have to start seeing it, right? For instance, ये कैलेंडर है, इसमें अगर मैं कोई भी चौकोर पकड़ता हूँ, 1 और 9, 10, 8 और 2, 10. शायद टीचर बच्चे बैठे हैं, मुझे बात दिखाई दे रहा हो. 1 और 10, 11, 8 और 3, 11, 9 और 2, 11. कहीं पर भी पकड़ लीजिए, कोई भी चौकोर पकड़ लीजिए, कोई भी रेक्टेंगल पकड़ लीजिए, सबका जियोमेट्रिकली बराबर 11 नहीं आएगा. 11 और 2, 13, 9 और 4, 13, 10 और 3, 13. अब मैं आपसे पूछूं, 1 के नीचे 8 के नीचे 15 के नीचे 22, यहाँ पर 1 8 15 22, इधर 1 8 15 22, इधर कभी देखा था आपने ये कैलेंडर? एक किसी भी महीने का कैलेंडर हो, सारे अंक एक ही तरह आते हैं. ऐसा things like that when we start doing this piece of हर कक्षा में एक कैलेंडर होता है और हम चाहें तो गणित की 100 200 गतिविधियां इस साधारण कैलेंडर से कर सकते हैं. अभी हमारे पास शायद समय नहीं हो, लेकिन अगर मुझे एक लाइन में मैं पूरे साल का कैलेंडर बना सकता हूं, क्योंकि अगर मुझे पता है कि एक पहली तारीख किस दिन है तो मैं पूरे महीने की सारी तारीख बता सकता हूं. आपको सिर्फ 7 से भाग देना होगा, तो इस कैलेंडर के हिसाब से अपन सबसे पहले हम ये शुरुआत ही करते थे. आज शुरुआत करी इससे, तो कैलेंडर से करीब 200 गतिविधियां कर सकते हैं. चलिए सबसे पहले ये मेरे हाथ में एक साधारण सी स्ट्रॉ है. सबसे स्ट्रॉ देखिए, इस स्ट्रॉ के मैंने 2 भाग करे, 2 भाग में काट दिया, ऊपर से थोड़ा सा दबाया और दबाने के बाद और काट दिया. अब इसके बाद मैं क्या करूंगा, मुंह से थोड़ा दबाऊंगा और जोर की मारेंगे. लेकिन ये जरूर सीखे जाइएगा, सभी के पास स्ट्रॉ है और इसके ऊपर बहुत बढ़िया विचार कर सकते हैं. अब इसको मैं किसी से क्यों मालूम क्या होगा, आनी चाहिए नहीं? और अगर आप थोड़ा सा मानते तो जब मैं सीखूंगा तो आपको ये भी ये जो 2 बात थे ये वाइब्रेट होने जरूर दिखेंगे. And then now you can realize why is it that this sound was produced? Why is it that these beats vibrate? There is a lot of science sitting right there. There is Bernoulli का नाम सुना है? सभी ने सुना है. वो Bernoulli वाइब्रेट में बैठा है और वाइब्रेशन वाले लोग भी कहते हैं. And notes and antinodes and all of those stuff are sitting, but you can still enjoy. आपके टीचर जब बोर्ड पे लिखे हैं टीचर बोर्ड पे लिखे तो टीचर से सीधी जरूर बच सकेगा. अभी दूसरी स्ट्रॉ पर भी मैंने यही हाल करा, इसको मैंने थोड़ा सा दबाया और जब इसके में जाता हूँ तो दोनों में क्या फर्क है, ये लंबी और ये छोटी, लेकिन इसकी आवाज ज्यादा नहीं, इसकी आवाज हाई पिच है, दूर तक जाती है. इसलिए जब माँ आवाज देती है तो बहुत दूर तक जाती है और पता चला आपकी काटते क्योंकि जैसे जैसे आप करीब आते हैं आंखें फोकस नहीं कर पाती हैं और ऐसा हुआ है कुछ लोगों के साथ हमारे मित्र हैं बहुत मजबूर हो गए और सूट में घाव हो गई। फटाफट दिखाता हूं मैं आपको। इसी स्ट्रॉ को उसी तरह हमने 2 बार करे और अब और इसमें मैंने क्या करा, यहाँ पर 2 टेढ़े छेद कर दिए, ठीक है, एक छेद और ऐसे ही दूसरा छेद। और अब मैं जब इसको बजाता हूँ जो अगर ऊपर की हवा खुले तो ऊपर का छेद खुला तो इधर से हवा नहीं आएगी, तो यहाँ पर अगर हाथ रखने के लिए करके हवा ऊपर से जाएगी and then this will be the wavelength of the sound that is produced. So for people who are interested in what is going on, they can actually figure out आजकल अपने फोन पर भी वो एक ग्राफ मिल जाता है, बना सकते हैं और उसमें डोमिनेंट नोड निकालेंगे तो लैम्डा बाय 2 आएगा, यानी कि जो आवाज आपने निकली उसका नोड आप उसकी वेवलेंथ निकाल सकते हैं और वो साउंड की वेवलेंथ वेलोसिटी ऑफ एयर को मालूम है। चलिए, तो ये था हमारी स्ट्रॉ का प्रयोग। अभी स्ट्रॉ वाले केमिकल निकालने में तो एक और स्ट्रॉ वाला पानी का लगना है। ओके, देखिए मेरे पास एक और साधारण रबड़ का टुकड़ा है और उस रबड़ के टुकड़े पर 2 स्ट्रॉ काट कर मैंने ऐसे चिपका है। और ये पानी का नल है, इस पानी के नल में ये सारा नल है, बड़े आराम से बना सकते हैं। अब जब मैं इसको पानी में ऐसे डालता हूँ और कुछ कर रहा हूँ, इसके लिए थोड़ा सा नीचे आना पड़ेगा, नीचे आपको दिखेगा लोगों को, ठीक है? दिखेगा दिखेगा। और अब जब इस तरफ से डालकर करता हूँ तो दिखा सभी को, जब नीचे आपको इसको दिखाना जा रहा था रबड़ का टुकड़ा है, 2 स्ट्रॉ काटी और चिपका दी। एक तरफ से डालते हैं आपको लगेगा तो आवाज में इसलिए आ रही है क्योंकि मैंने इसमें रीड बनाई है, ऐसा लगेगा ना। चलिए रीड काट दिया। अब ऐसे फूकते हैं और अगर ऐसे तो ये क्या चालू था? यहाँ पर किसी ने किसने बोला? किस लड़के ने बोला? बहुत अच्छे। क्यों बर्नौली एक तरफ से लगा दूसरी तरफ से नहीं लगा बर्नौली? इसका उत्तर लेकिन दूसरी तरफ से क्यों नहीं लगा? बहुत अच्छा उत्तर था कि आप बताइए, मैं नहीं बताऊंगा, ये आप बताएंगे। कब बता पाएंगे? जब अपने घर में जाकर या स्कूल में जाकर ये बनाएंगे और अपने मित्रों के ऊपर पानी का फुब्बारा मारेंगे। लेकिन सबसे जरूरी है बच्चों के लिए खेलना। जो बच्चे नहीं खेलते वो बड़े होंगे मेरा मानना है कौन बनाते हैं, but leaving that aside, the most important thing that a child has to do is to play. Unfortunately, in this competitive world or whatever, we are not doing, and so I am glad there are some teachers also, because उनके लिए ज़्यादा जरूरी बात है। बच्चे को निश्चित रूप से खेलना चाहते हैं, हम इनको कहते हैं मत करो ये अपना, शांत रहो, ask relevant questions, please stick to the curriculum, because the goal is to cover the curriculum, whereas we might have to uncover the curriculum. The goal of the teachers and the whatever school is to cover, जबकि होना चाहिए कि अनकवर तो करें भाई, अंदर क्या लगता है, बच्चे ही ऐसी चीजें जिनको लगता है कि पेट में क्या है इसको के लिए ढूंढ के निकालें, लेकिन माँ बाप बोलते हैं बंद करेंगे ये ले हिसाब और सबसे पहले हिसाब। चलिए उस तरफ गए तो हम काफी दूर से काफी लोगों को ये वाला खिलौना आपने देखा था, फिर से फटाफट दिखाता हूँ। This will save you a lot of money. Next time you go to a birthday party, this is what you are going to make and give it to your friend. एक साधारण सी सीढ़ी, उसके ऊपर साइकिल की स्पोक ऊपर एक मैग्नेट, पेन के ऊपर एक और मैग्नेट, और जब मैंने लिखना बंद करा तो ये पेन हवा में। ये बात में जाते हुए मैं आपके घर का सर्कल गिफ्ट करके चला and you can figure out what you want. If you want to be on this table, thank you very much for inviting me back again. एक पेन कभी सीधा खड़ा हो सकता है, लुढ़क जाएगा। अब ये देखिए, और इसके मैं बिल्कुल बढ़िया बता सकता हूँ, बनाने में 5 मिनट का खिलौना है, बट इट इज प्राइसलेस। कीमत 40 पैसे की स्पोक, 40 पैसे की मैग्नेट, 1 रुपए का, and that's your pension. You can figure out the price. So this are two right here. And once you make a vertical pen, you can also try your hand at making a levitating pen. Have you seen this pen before? This is available in the market. $15 का आपको बाजार में मिल जाएगा. You can order it on the internet, but what I have done here is a simple piece of rubber. ये क्या है? ये सीढ़ी का टुकड़ा है, जो कि हम लोग सीट फेंकते हैं। आजकल हम सीढ़ी का कचरा पैदा करते हैं। And then there are 6 magnets, 2 of them on this side, which attract, एक दूसरे के ऊपर खींचती हैं। पीछे वाली मैग्नेट धक्का देती है। And then if I keep it, then this pen hangs in the air. Now this pen is hanging in the air. और यही सिद्धांत है जिसके कारण अपनी मैग्नेट ट्रेन्स चलती हैं, which can reach the speed of 400 kilometers an hour. This is the basis of a magnet train. कल्पना कीजिए हम सभी लोग अपने घर में एक मैग्नेट ट्रेन बनाएं, and that is what we need. इसकी कहानी और भी रोचक है। एक लड़की थी, जब उसका नाम है, और ये असली कहानी में सुना रहा हूँ, उसका नाम है हंसा पद्मनाभन। जब वो 10वीं में थी, उसने देखा तो उसने इसके ऊपर एक 6 पेज का पर्चा लिखा। पर्चा मतलब रिसर्च पेपर, and she submitted it to this Intel Science Award, जो कि यहाँ पर अभी चल रहे थे। She got first prize in India. And then she was called to the US, जहाँ पर उसको प्रेजेंट करने के लिए बोला। और उसने खिलौना बनाया नहीं, उस खिलौने के वर्किंग के ऊपर एक 6 पेज का पेपर लिखा, और वहाँ पर उन्होंने इसको ओवरऑल सेकंड प्राइज दिया, $5,000 का इनाम दिया। नासा ने एक लघु ग्रह उसके नाम पर रख दिया। So if you Google Hamsa today, there is a planet called Hamsa Padmanabhan because she wrote about the physics of this topic. There are still 70,000 planets with NASA which are unnamed. और हमारे यहाँ कितने बच्चे बैठे हैं? 700 बच्चे हैं, तो उस 70,000 में से 700 तो हमारे नाम के हो सकते हैं सभी के। And I have at least 100 toys which I don't know what the physics is. So each of you is welcome to look deeper, or make these toys, dig deeper, and talk about the physics and maths of these toys. So this is the inspiring story that I was going to tell you on डिस्ट्रिक्ट खिलौने के ऊपर पर्चा लिखा और उसने एक तरह का क्योंकि आप टॉकिंग अबाउट इतनी या इतनी और या फिर इतनी, जो अगर ऊपर की हवा खुली है तो ऊपर का चेक मिला तो इधर से हवा नहीं आएगी, तो यहाँ पर अगर हाथ रखेंगे ये करके हवा ऊपर से जाएगी एंड देन दिस विल बी अ वेवलेंथ ऑफ द साउंड दैट इज प्रोड्यूस्ड। सो फॉर पीपल हु आर इंटरेस्टेड इन व्हाट इज गोइंग ऑन दे कैन एक्चुअली फिगर आउट, आजकल अपने फोन पर भी वो एक ग्राफ मिल जाता है बना सकते हैं और उसमें डोमिनेंट नोड निकालेंगे तो लैम्डा बाय 2 आएगा, यानी कि जो आवाज आपने निकली उसका नोड आप उसकी वेवलेंथ निकाल सकते हैं और वो साउंड की वेवलेंथ वेलोसिटी का आप लोगों को मालूम है। चलिए तो ये था हमारी स्ट्रॉ का प्रयोग। अभी स्ट्रॉ वाले केम निकालने दे तो एक और स्ट्रॉ वाला पानी का लगना है। ओके देखिए मेरे पास एक और साधारण रबर का टुकड़ा है और उस रबर के टुकड़े पर 2 स्ट्रॉ काट कर मैंने ऐसे निकाला है। और ये पानी का भाग है, इस पानी के घर में ये साधारण है, बड़े आराम से बना सकते हैं। अब जब मैं इसको पानी में ऐसे गिराता हूँ और फूंक मारता हूँ, थोड़ा सा नीचे आना पड़ेगा, नीचे आपको दिखेगा लोगों को, दिख रहा है? दिखेगा दिखेगा। और अब जब इस तरफ से डालकर करता हूँ तो दिखा सभी को, लेकिन नीचे आपको इसको दिखाना जा रहा था। देखिए रबर का टुकड़ा है, 2 स्ट्रॉ काटी और निकाली, एक तरफ से डालते हैं आपको लगेगा तो आवाज तो इसलिए आ रही है क्योंकि मैंने इसमें रीड बनाई है, ऐसा लगेगा ना। चलिए रीड काट दिया। अब ऐसे फूकते हैं और अगर ऐसे तो ये क्या चालू था? यहाँ पर किसी ने सोचे करना है बाबा का नाम क्या? किसने बोला? किस लड़के ने बोला? बहुत अच्छे। क्यों बर्नौली एक तरफ से लगा दूसरी तरफ से नहीं लगा बर्नौली? इसका उत्तर लेकिन दूसरी तरफ से क्यों नहीं लगा? बहुत अच्छा उत्तर था कि आप बताइए, नहीं मैं नहीं बताऊंगा, ये आप बताएंगे। कब बता पाएंगे? जब अपने घर में जाकर या स्कूल में जाकर ये बनाएंगे और अपने मित्रों के ऊपर पानी का फुब्बारा मारेंगे। लेकिन सबसे जरूरी है बच्चों के लिए खेलना। जो बच्चे नहीं खेलते वो बड़े होंगे, ऐसा मेरा मानना है, कौन बनाते हैं, बट the most important thing that a child has to do is to play. Unfortunately, in this competitive world or whatever, we are not doing, and so I am glad there are some teachers also, because उनके लिए ज़्यादा जरूरी बात है। बच्चे को निश्चित रूप से खेलना चाहते हैं, हम इनको कहते हैं मत करो ये बकवास, शांत रहो, ask relevant questions, please stick to the curriculum, because the goal is to cover the curriculum, whereas we might have to uncover the curriculum. The goal of the teachers and the whatever school is to cover, जबकि होना चाहिए कि अनकवर तो करें भाई, अंदर क्या लगता है। बच्चे ही ऐसी चीजें जिनको लगता है कि पेट में क्या है इसके लोगों के लिए ढूंढ के निकालें, लेकिन माँ बाप बोलते हैं बंद करिए, ये लेगा और सबसे पहले लेगा। चलिए उस तरफ गए तो हम काफी जोर से काफी जो हमको ये वाला खिलौना आपने देखा था, फिर से फटाफट दिखाता हूँ। This will save you a lot of money. Next time you go to a birthday party, this is what you are going to make and give it to your friends. एक साधारण सी सीढ़ी, उसके ऊपर साइकिल की स्पोक ऊपर एक मैग्नेट, पेन के ऊपर एक और मैग्नेट, और जब मैंने लिखना बंद करा तो ये पेन हवा में ये बात में जाते हुए मैं आपके घर का सर गिफ्ट करके चला जाऊँ। And you can figure out what you want. If you want to be on this table, thank you very much for inviting me back again. This is a good for me. And this is the next question to understand. You can learn a lot of physics by this. And of course, this is one of the creative. एक पेन कभी सीधा खड़ा हो सकता है, लुढ़क जाएगा। अब ये देखिए, और इसके मैं बिल्कुल बढ़िया बना सकता हूँ। बनाने में 5 मिनट का खिलौना है, but it is priceless. कीमत 40 पैसे की स्टोव, 40 पैसे की मैग्नेट, 1 रुपए का, and that's your pension. You can figure out the math. So this are two right here. And once you make a vertical pen, you can also try your hand at making a levitating pen. Have you seen this one before? This is a regular in the market. $15 का आपको बाजार में मिल जाएगा. You can order it on the internet. But what I have done here is a simple piece of rubber. ये क्या है? ये सीढ़ी का टुकड़ा है, जो कि हम लोग सिंक फेंकते हैं. आजकल खूब सीढ़ी का कचरा पैदा करते हैं. And then there are 6 magnets, 2 of them on this side, which attract एक दूसरे के ऊपर खींचती हैं. पीछे वाली मैग्नेट धक्का देती है. And then if I keep it, then this pen hangs in the air. Now this pen is hanging in the air. I can spin it. और यही सिद्धांत है जिसके कारण अपनी मैग्नेट ट्रेन चलती है. Which can reach the speed of 400 kilometers an hour. This is the basis of a magnet plates. कल्पना कीजिए हम सभी लोग अपने घर में एक मैग्नेट प्लेट बनाएं. And that is what we need. इसकी कहानी और भी रोचक है. एक लड़की थी, जब उसका नाम है, और ये भी असली कहानी में सुना रहा हूँ. उसका नाम है हंसा पद्मनाभन. जब वो 10वीं में थी, उसने देखा, तो उसने इसके ऊपर एक 6 पेज का पर्चा लिखा. पर्चा मतलब रिसर्च पेपर. And she submitted it to this Intel Science Award, जो कि यहाँ पर अभी चल रहे थे. She got first prize in India. And then she was called to the US, जहाँ पर उसको प्रेजेंट करने के लिए बोला. और उसने खिलौना बनाया नहीं, उस खिलौने के वर्किंग के ऊपर एक 6 पेज का पेपर लिखा. और वहाँ पर उन्होंने इसको ओवरऑल सेकंड प्राइज दिया, $5,000 का इनाम दिया. नासा ने एक लघु ग्रह उसके नाम पर रख दिया. So if you Google Hamsa today, there is a planet called Hamsa Padmanabhan because she wrote about the physics of this topic. There are still 70,000 planets with NASA which are unnamed. और हमारे यहाँ कितने बच्चे बैठे हैं? 700 बच्चे हैं. तो उस 70,000 में से 700 तो हमारे नाम के हो सकते हैं सभी के. And I have at least 100 toys which I don't know what the physics is. So each of you is welcome to look deeper, or make these toys, dig deeper, and talk about the physics and maths of these toys. So this is the inspiring story that I was going to tell you of Hamsa. जिसने इस खिलौने के ऊपर पर्चा लिखा और उसने एक